Tatyana Arrington, What the Film? Hi, Frank. How are you today?
Hi, Tatiana. What the film? What's going on? We should call it What the Bluff. That could be today's episode.
I love it. I love it. Loving the vibes already. I'm super excited to talk to you today because this movie is very much, I feel like, an essence of who you are. And I wanted to start with your childhood and talk a little bit about that. You talked a lot about Pirate Week in the Caymans, and I wanted to know if any of those early memories secretly made its way into the film.
Oh, absolutely. So in Cayman Islands, Halloween is okay. Not a lot of people do it. But Pirates Week, everybody dresses up, right? So for me, some of my earliest core memories was going in town, sitting on my father's shoulders, and watching this cosplay, right? This is the national festival. We've been doing it for 50 years now, 50. And so you see the boats come in and there were pyrotechnics and then there's a sword fight. And what's crazy is the pirates win. They take over the island for a week. And then they
Uh-huh.
come off and then they throw you and you're scared, right? You don't know what's real, what's not. And you're like, oh my gosh, the pirates won. They're coming for us. Then they throw you like a candy or a doubloon and you're like, all right, well, they killed some locals, but they seem pretty, oh, thanks for the candy. So I really had this very odd, complex relationship to pirates. And, you know, I did Caribbean history in high school, and Miss King, our teacher, she'd be like, and this Pirates Week, you out there is a bunch of murderers and killers, and you're gonna celebrate that, and what are you doing? And so I really had this confliction about pirates and pirate culture. And so as time went on, and my writing partners, one of my best friends from USC, we have this thing called the Bad Idea of the Week Club, where we just call each other and we'll pitch something. And he said, what about Straw Dogs with pirates? And Straw Dogs is, you know, one of my favorite films from the 70s. I know there's some controversial elements, but the idea of someone being pushed to defend their home with extreme violence is fascinating. And that was really the DNA of what went into this. And then, you know, part of my mandate in my whole life has been telling Caribbean stories from a Caribbean perspective. And so this is the soup that is the bluff.
I love that. And I know Priyanka also did like a lot of extensive research for her role as well, including even meeting with elders in Cayman, which I think is cool. Did she bring back anything from the process that kind of made you rethink, rewrite, or restage a scene?
Oh, so many things. I mean, what was so interesting, we did this cultural trip, which the Ministry of Culture in Cayman sponsored for us. And we went down there and we were meeting with all these beautiful elders who were telling us stories and showing us, like, this is how you plat the thatch and all these things. And the whole time I'm going, and then we can kill a guy with that. And then we can choke a dude with that. And so, you know, Priyanka was, you know, they accepted her in such a way, and she felt, you know, Caymanians, we're some of the most loving, open people, because we have this very interesting lore, right? We came from shipwrecked sailors, formerly enslaved people, deserters from Cromwell's army. We were this mixed bag, this sort of way station, right, in the Caribbean. We weren't as established as Jamaica and these other places. So we were this kind of ragtag group of pirates ourselves from the beginning. And what we actually, Priyanka and I, we went through and we found was the men went off to sea to make a living. The women built the society. The women defended the shores. The women created, you know, the houses and the structure and the and the stores. And so we went back with a heaviness that and a responsibility in a way to bring that to life, and to see it through her eyes was so fresh, because I'd grown up the whole time and I had my point of view, but you take some of that for granted, of course, right? And so
Right.
for her to, you know, I'm psyched about making a badass action movie with culture, with heritage, and she just took back that depth and that responsibility of like, hey, this is your people, man. We're gonna do it justice. We're gonna really go deep on this. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in that way.
Yeah, she's such a great action star, and I feel like we've seen her in so many different elements in action, so it was fun to kind of see her do that again. And when it comes to Captain Connor, you've described him as part sex symbol, part sociopath, all pirate. How did you know that Carl was going to be the man for the job?
What's so great about Karl Urban is, first of all, he got swagger, and I don't know. There's not a definition of that. It's just dude got swagger, he got swagger,
Yeah,
right?
you either
He
have it or
got
you
it. You
don't.
got it. You gotta have it. By the way, there's people who, again, are just, yeah, you just got it. And what I love about him is even though he got that swagger, he never lets Karl Urban get in the way of a great performance and a great character. And so both him and Priyanka, right? Priyanka's got this insane body of work, Bollywood and Hollywood. She's done characters of every range on the spectrum. So there are few actors that have done that in Hollywood. And Karl is one of those folks, right? We had this wall of Karl Urban, where it was all his characters, and you go, man, like you forget the range of all these different things. So the way these two performers are so thoughtful, and he was reading old trial transcripts of pirates and really getting into that. So what I wanted to do was like make something that was authentic, make something that was visceral, make something that was raw, but also that was fun. That was like world-class action, which the
Yeah.
Russos and Agbo do, but that was uncompromising. That was bloody. That was R, hard R, you know. And so that takes a special team. And these two, they brought it, you know.
And I'm watching it too. So I'm watching the film and I'm like, this is intense, but at the same time, so beautiful the way like certain shots in the film. So I want to know what was the muddiest, sweatiest, most physical, miserable day of shooting, but somehow ended up looking spectacular on the screen.
Wow. So we're doing this invasion sequence, and it's when Karl comes up against Custo Drayton, who is actually a real character, and a real character from history. And they're having that standoff on the dock. And, you know, part of the Bluff is it's also kind of a gangster film. One of my favorite movies growing up was New Jack City, right? And so we wanted that, again, we're trying to be authentic, but we want that swagger. We wanted to make it feel relevant, right? And so we're shooting there. We're in Stradbroke Island in Australia, and it was gloomy and rainy. And, you know, as with any movie, you don't have a lot of time. We can only be there for 5 days. Then, you know, it's a historical site, so you had to take everything down. We couldn't come back to the set. And it just wasn't working. The light wasn't there. It wasn't the vibe. It wasn't what we needed. And the producer, Michael Disco, I will always applaud him for this. He just said, I can see you're not loving this. I go, no, but we got to shoot something. He goes, no, we don't. Let's go home early. I said, bro, we got 10 pages of stuff to put in a 5-page day. He's like, no, bro, trust me. And then next day, man, God is good. That sun came out. We hit it. It was beautiful. And I was like, man, listen, that's the Bluff. Let's go. And so to me, that was really one of those scenes that came alive. And yeah,
I love that. And then for my last question, I want to ask you, you should watch The Bluff if you love blank.
you should watch The Bluff if you love emotional action. And I say that because I love watching an action movie, much as the next person. But if there's just that one little moment that gets me, I go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. You know, when I watch a fancy like, you know, movie about a loss of a loved one or something, like you're there to cry. You're like, I show up to cry, show up to feel a lot of things. For an action movie, you go, sometimes you just wanna, you know, you're watching on your tablet, you're watching on your phone, wherever you consume movies. You're like, man, I just wanna veg out. I wanna sit back, I wanna have a chill Friday night. This movie will give you that. And then I feel like there's those moments of heart that as a mother or even, you know, as an action fan, you're gonna go like, oh, that was surprisingly kind of deep. And so that's what we want to bring. And that's what I believe the movie delivers.
You guys definitely brought it. So I
Thank
want to
you so
say
much.
thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you. And I know that at the end of the day, like young filmmakers will take away what's possible from a film like this, whether they come from a smaller island or whatnot. Like it's really inspirational. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I wish those filmmakers to, you know, keep making content, big or small, use whatever tools you can, and your voices are worth it, your stories are worth it, and stick with it, you know. So thank you for that.
Thank you.